Alright, so I'm going to dive into the defense, part 2. Like I said, I wanted to clear some things up, and I know I'm taking defense really seriously in NBA 2K18 because defense is a thing that I want to be on point for 2K18, and for the most part it was to me, but I just wanted to make sure that I could explain it to you all. So I know that I won't be able to explain it clearly to everybody, but I'm going to try my best right now. And also, I'll talk to Scott O'Gallagher, and he will have a blog post out on defense. So I definitely recommend checking that out because Scott OG is the man, alright? And that's all I have to say. So when that comes out, I'll link it in the description, and I'll also tweet it out. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I just be talking sometimes. That's my fault. So I missed out on a lot of things on the first defensive video on purpose. I wanted to say that for this video because the first one was pretty long. So one thing I want to touch on are the defensive settings in NBA 2K18, and shout out to Scott OG because he also made sure that I talked about this, and it's something that I wanted to talk about also because in my first video I mentioned defenders leaving people open, but like I said, I haven't changed my defensive settings. So I will say defensive settings do play a huge part in NBA 2K18. You want to make sure you have on the play tight. All of that is coming back, and I'm pretty sure there will be more that Scott OG will talk about in a blog post. Defensive settings, they've been getting better and better every year in my opinion, especially on 2K17. When I watch people play my team or play now online and they go through and they have a defensive setting for each person, you know, stuff like that is always good to have. So like I said, defensive settings will be way better in NBA 2K18. And there were also, I mean, we saw a few of them. For example, you're used to defensive assist, right? The new setting we saw was defensive assist with intense D. So now that assist only comes in when you're holding L2 or LT, and that should be interesting. I wonder if that would change how people really clamp up. So now I want to talk about the blocking. The blocking is something I didn't touch on in the first video. I wanted to save it for this video. And I will say on 2K18, the block targeting seems a lot better. It doesn't seem as fluky as it was in NBA 2K17. In NBA 2K17, the block targeting was, I don't know, it just seemed fluky to me. You had guards blocking bigs. You had people just like backhanding the ball without looking. The blocking on 2K17 was all over the place. I mean, it's just like one of those things that changes from 2K to 2K. I remember some 2Ks you couldn't block. On other 2Ks, you block people way too easily. And I think 2K17 was one of those 2Ks because like I said, you had guards blocking bigs, and that really shouldn't happen as often as it did. So from what I played, the block targeting was way better in NBA 2K18. They met the shot at the top, at the peak, and I know Shakedown was talking to me about this because on 2K17, it seems like sometimes you block the ball when they're 25% of the way up, 50% of the way up, but a block shot on NBA 2K18, it looked natural, and that's what I was concerned about. You know, it looks really natural on NBA 2K18, so I like it. Now, something that a lot of people were tweeting me about was double teams, and people had a lot of questions about double teams, and I'm trying to answer those in this video. The first thing is if you can select who you want to help to come double, and the answer to that is yes, you can select who you want to double team. They have that in 2K. Also, a lot of people want to know if you can pass out of double teams. I will say the only time I got caught up in a double team is if I just wasn't paying attention. I was focused on calling a play or something. I mean, it happens. So to get caught up in a double team, you have to be really slacking, which I was when I got caught up. I was trying to just try some things out, you know. So for the most part, yeah, you can pass out of double teams depending on who you have. If they trap your point guard, if you get it out early, you will be good. But you know the deal, man. If you get trapped in that double team and you try to pass it, especially if you're not used to the pressure sensitive passing, you might float one out of bounds. That's going to be on you. Or for the most part, it'll be a tie up. So double teams, I mean, we'll see how it goes. You know how 2K is. It's a bunch of variables, man. Of course, like if I have Kyrie, of course Kyrie is going to be able to dance around a couple defenders or even split the double team or pass out of it if I see it too early. So, you know, it just depends, you know. Overall though, the double teams, they weren't OP. If that's what you're trying to know, it's not OP in my opinion. But then again, we didn't spam it like that. Like, we were actually trying to play the game. We didn't spam it like that. So that's one of those things where we'll really just have to see. One thing people are talking about a lot are the auto contest. And I understand, like, I'm a sharpshooter in Pro-Am, right? And even when somebody gets me in a post, it still happens. You don't press a button, the game makes you jump, they make you put your hands up. So I will say on NBA 2K18, it's still there, but it's not as dominant as 2K17. Once again, it goes back to defensive settings. But there were a couple of times they never made me jump. I'll say that. They never made me jump. But maybe 1 or 2 times they made me put my hands up, which I can't be mad about. But at the same time, if you're playing somebody in a post and they do a fake in the game, makes you put your hands up, you know, I don't want that to happen. If I mess up and don't put my hands up, I want that to be on me. And if I put my hands up, I want that to be on me also. So, I mean, like I said, not as dominant as 2K17, and also defensive settings are a big role. So you could probably cut that out completely if you just go through and change it up. So now I want to hit a topic that's pretty touchy, something that a lot of people talk about. You have 2 sides to this, either you're for it or you're against it, no in the middle, but it's off-ball defense. Letting the CPU play defense for you. And it's funny because you really shouldn't be that upset about it, especially on 2K18, because there are so many ways to attack somebody that's off-balling. If someone is off-balling, you can send the person they're defending on the cut using the triangle button or the Y button, or like I said in my offense video, you can just hold B or circle and completely control that person, get them around the person that's off-balling. Like, for some reason, I'm not stressing the off-ballers like that. If they want to do it, it's for a reason. It's so easy to expose them. Even now, on 2K17, I get it. It's annoying, but it's still easy to expose them. On 2K18, it's going to be even easier to expose them because of what you can do on offense and how you can control the rest of your teammates. So, in my opinion, you really shouldn't trip about it. Yes, you can off-ball, but at the same time, you can also expose people that off-ball really easily. Like, you might as well on-ball, to be honest. That's how I feel about it. So I'm going to end the video right here. If you think I missed anything, go back and watch part 1 because that video was longer than part 2. It also had a lot of information, and also be on the lookout for the defensive blog post from Scott O'Gallagher because that's going to be really good too, and it's going to be more informative than my videos. Like I said, I struggle when it comes to talking about defense. I don't know why. Like, everything else I'm good, but defense, you know, I can only tell you what I saw. But if you want to know everything, be on the lookout for that blog post from Scott OG. He's the man, and he will sum everything up perfectly. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. More gameplay impressions coming to you soon. I told you it's a lot to talk about. I hope you don't mind, man. I might spam it up one time. You all be easy. Peace.